Welcome back to Burn the Ship. The podcast, we connect entrepreneurs to professionals to help you go all in on your business. I'm your host, Ezra Brown. Without further ado, I'm going to allow my guest to introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Art Hance, founder and president of Hance Construction. We're an industrial and commercial contractor located in Washington, New Jersey.
That's awesome, man. Art, first and foremost, thank you so much for joining us this morning, taking time out of your day to join us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
But we get to learn a little bit about Hance Construction, Inc. So, Art, without further ado, let us know a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your story. Tell us a little bit about the journey.
Well, I grew up in construction and got out for a while and pursued a career in the auto industry. I'm a bit of a hard nut. But I got back into it, worked for a general contractor here in New Jersey for 8 years. Kind of got fed up and decided to start my own company. There's all kinds of stories behind that. I started the company in 2000. Celebrate our 25th year next year, which is amazing to me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Again, we do a lot of commercial and industrial work. A lot of people know us for the structure that we built for the New York Giants practice facility. We were the early people to build cannabis facilities here in New Jersey and have done quite a bit of work in that area.
Awesome.
Our bread and butter is industrial and commercial buildings, warehouses, manufacturing for owners, private owners. We do some corporate work. That's pretty much it.
That's awesome. So, being in the commercial building, it's a little bit different than that residential. I guess what's the difference in going through the hoops to get a building like that, expected to code, everything that you got to do to get the groundwork laid out? What's the difference in that and doing a residential build?
We've done residential work. The residential work we do, people can look at our website. We've done some unusual residents. I've worked with an owner who brought 56 shipping containers from his home village in Germany. Built a 10,000 square foot Bavarian chalet.
That's cool.
But industrial and commercial typically involves a lot more time in the approval process, particularly here in New Jersey. Every town has a planning board, zoning board that you have to go through with state and local laws. The environmental issues are always a concern. We are in a highly built environment. We're
right.
The birthplace of the industrial revolution, but there aren't too many places around that haven't been built on. And if they haven't been built on, they usually have some type of environmental constraint, like wetlands or stream buffers or something like that. So we're building a doggy daycare center. A shout out for Confident K9, a great place to take your pet in Flemington, New Jersey. But it took us 2 years to get the approvals before we could start construction.
Right.
And you usually don't see that on an individual residential project. If you're, residential projects, you tend to be working with a very different type of client. An industrial or commercial client is focused on achieving the project goals so they can move ahead with their business. I think that a residential project is a lot more emotional.
Right. Yeah, because you got somebody asking you about every nook and cranny on their property versus, hey, I needed a 40,000 square foot, warehouse. You put it up for me. That's all I need, versus somebody wants their kitchen slab to not have that mark on it, or that one truss, they didn't want it in that spot of the house, whatever it is.
No, it's going to be that color.
Which is crazy, but it is their forever home sometimes, you know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I guess you do want to take time on that. But what would you say, is that ideal residential client, because commercial, we'll go through that, but what would be the ideal residential that you're looking for?
We do very little residential. So it's hard for me to describe the last residential project we did was 15, 20 years.
Oh, well then we'll go into it. What's that ideal commercial project you're looking for? What is that, what are you looking for? Is it a warehouse or do you want to build that skyscraper? What is it?
We don't, we don't, I always say we don't pick projects, we pick owners. So I don't care what it is, we'll build it. We just, there's an ideal owner. Um, I have a friend and business associate who's writing a book right now. Part of that describes the ideal owner. But you know, we look for owners that uh, are respectful and understand that, we do a lot of design build work. We put a team together, design the owner's building and get the approvals and then build the building. And if an owner respects all of the effort that we put into it, can recognize the time and cost involved, uh, and can really communicate the things that he needs or she needs in the building to make it work for them. It allows us to do a much better job of designing and building that structure.
Right. And then what would you say is that process of finding that ideal owner slash client?
Networking, and if you treat every customer as a referral, um, that's where most of our work comes from. It's through referrals and through, getting out there and meeting people,
Right.
getting to know them.
And then what would you say when you first started, how did you grow your business? I know you had background in construction and probably had some people that knew that you were pretty good at your craft. But what was it? What'd you do? Did you go out? Did you go meet people? What exactly did you go do to kind of grow your business in the beginning?
Well, I don't know about other people. You probably get some very successful people on this. For me, I look back at the business and I'm reflecting more as I approach 25 years. Um, and I think that there's key people along the way that that play a big influence in how you move ahead. I was working for a contractor and, you know, just got disgruntled. Thought, it was not a very good place to work. I was on a board of a nonprofit, and one of the people on the board, uh, he, very respected contractor, well known in the community and everything. A fellow by the name of Paul Henderson. One night after a board meeting, having a beer, and I guess I was complaining, and he said, and I'll paraphrase because he had a colorful language, but he said, "When are you going to get off your ass and start your company?" And I laughed it off. And he says, "What are you laughing about?" And I said, "Well, that's I'm not going to start my own company." He goes, "Why not?" He goes, "You can do it." And the fact that he had faith in me and thought that I could was really a turning point.
Right. Gave you faith in yourself.
And so then it was just a matter of putting things together. I had a dear friend, Richmond Shreve. Uh, I was talking with him. He was a successful business person, and I think that's the key: is you know, surround yourself with other people who have been successful. Richmond said, "You're going to need a computer." I didn't even have a computer. I was starting out with $1,200 in a spare bedroom, and his father just passed away. He had a new laptop, and he said, "I'll make you a deal. I'll give you this laptop, but I'm going to load a business plan on it, software. You, within a month of me giving you that laptop, you have to show me your business plan and I critique it." And it was a pretty simple thing, but it asked questions that I never knew were
Right.
questions to be asked. And the business plan, it was nothing that I worked towards as the business developed,
Right.
but it asked me questions early on, like what is my insurance going to cost? What is it going to cost for accounting? What is this, that, and the other thing? I had to list all this. And it really changed the way that I looked at the business. It changed how I thought I was going to make money. Uh, so I think that was critical. Uh,
Absolutely.
and I think that, you know, we can all sit around and talk about, what great business people are. I think there's a bit of luck involved. And, I believe that, I'm a religious guy. So I think that, God is on your side. You've got good
Absolutely,
chance
million percent.
too. Uh, so it's been an interesting journey, to say the least.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's 25 years is it's been a long journey, and it's super awesome to see that, to be there for 25 years through the ups and downs of the economy. It's super super, it means a lot, about says a lot about what you guys do and how you guys do your work, because it means you guys do good work. 'Cause people don't stay around if you don't do the right things. You're not owned by good people. You don't stay around that long. Um, but no, what would you say was like the hardest part of it? Of all of it, getting the business started. Would you say it was that back end side? Because you could already use the tools,
Well, the hardest part was believing I could do it. That was
and
the hardest.
do you think just your buddy sitting down that day at the bar? Do you think that fully instilled it into you, or you think you had to have something else kind of get you out of the chair?
Um, that was a big kicker. That really surprised me.
Yeah,
Paul was a nationally recognized contractor. And just the fact that he said, really, well, uh, my other friend with the business plan and laptop, his support, uh, that was also very.
and then what would you say you did really well when you first started? What was that? What did you lean on when you
We
first
didn't
started out
do
on your
very
own?
well. We struggled.
Absolutely, but what'd you lean on though through your times of struggle?
Um, well, I could make some jokes, but
Hey, look, that's fine too.
Tito's. No, Tito's wasn't around. No, what did I lean on? I leaned on my faith a lot, and
Yeah,
there were many late nights where I was like, "Oh God, what have I done?" Um, my ex-wife, I have to admit, she was there in the beginning, um, and I leaned on those people that I knew, and then I leaned on my past. Uh, I there were some crazy things in my childhood. I lost my dad when I was 15. Kind of on my own, 19, and you dig deep, and I think that um, I occasionally give talks for uh, some local schools, and I've had young people who are not familiar with business, talk about, well, now, you've been in business 25 years, the ship just keeps sailing. Um, I think that people getting into business need to recognize it now. No matter how long you've been in business, there are times when you wonder, and if you are good at putting a business together and creative and willing to change, it does get easier, uh, but it's never a slam dunk. You can never stop working. And I'm at a point where I'm approaching the end of my career, and people consider me old. Definitely in a couple of months. So as you get older, you have less energy. And
right.
people talk about it's hard to change as you get older. It's just a matter that you don't have as much energy to change. Uh, so it's key that you keep embracing change and refreshing your company to fit the times. Uh, the ways that we had to pivot during COVID. Uh, I'm I'm trying to figure out how to use artificial intelligence to help my business. You got to keep changing, and you've got to keep
Right.
adapting to what the market demands and what your customers need.
Right, because whatever nuances come about, somebody else is doing it out there, and somebody's like, "Oh, that's cool. I want to use that just because this is what they're doing." It's things and whatever technology runs the world nowadays.
I think that I like the term that you use, burn the boats. Um, a lot of people, they have trade secrets and they want to keep things undercover. Don't do that.
Right,
Go share everything. Don't tell them who your prospective clients are, but don't be afraid to bring your industry forward, and in the process, bring your competitors with you, because all that's going to do is push you further to stay ahead.
absolutely.
That's going to keep you out of the cutting edge. The things that we did 5 years ago, everybody's doing it now. So what
Right,
do we do different now to differentiate ourselves?
right, because that if you're selling the ship, then that means you kind of guide that market price and that floor price or whatever that ceiling price is. Because then Joe's construction is going to come over here. They're going to do it for 5,000. Hance Construction do it for 8, and they're like, "What's the difference in them doing it for 5 and 8?" And then they go look at their work, and they're like, you cut every corner possible, and that's how it got done. And there's somebody that does it for 30 grand, and it's like, the hell are they charging 30 grand for?
Absolutely.
But that is awesome though, because being a pioneer in your industry can really set things, because that's what they always say. If you want to make a ton of money, solve a problem for people. And as you're going through, I'm sure that's what you've done to things you did 5 years ago, was solving a problem that was probably just time, that was taking time on doing something that y'all realized found a way to do it and that much faster and make it just as good, if not better.
Well, and we are in the second most dangerous profession, uh, next to offshore fishing.
Yeah,
Uh, so we're always constantly looking for ways to improve our safety. Certainly trying to become more efficient and increase quality is important. Safety is primary.
most definitely. Yeah, and then I take it like you guys get probably some type of CPR stuff done for your guys. I would take it possibly.
So we actually, I was president of our National Association, Metal Building Contractors and Directors Association. Um, the association worked with the International Accreditation Service to develop a program to accredit contractors like ourselves. We were one of the first adopters. We were the first general contractor in the United States to achieve that. And that lays out a plan, and we have very strict policies for how we train our people. So all of our people have to go through the 10 and 30 training program. They have to go through a 13 module program on building these buildings we do for, uh, and we have other training requirements as time goes by that they need to adhere to.
Hmm.
Again, CPR and first aid is part of it. Plus, I tell everybody you got to get CPR because I'm getting old. So, do it on me. How much practice? You got to be good.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. And then what's been your favorite part about this journey? It's been a ride. Even before the 25 years of being in business for yourself. It could be something before, but what's been that favorite part of this journey? Because I know it's been a ride.
I think there's a couple of things. I really get a charge out of completing a project and having it over, just really thrilled. And we have one owner in particular that we've done like 15 projects for, and we collaborate so well.
Right.
And I was actually up there the day before yesterday, going over some details on a project, and that collaboration. And he has a degree in architecture, so even though he's not in that business at all, he loves to get down to the details, and
Right.
and the ability to interact with someone like that and create something and then deliver it to him and make him happy. I get charged.
Right. Because then you get to see their passion behind what they're already doing, and
Yep.
you're already passionate about it because you're doing it.
Yep.
So then you get to see that they care a little bit about it and know a little bit. So then you get to talk a little bit about it. It's like whenever I go see somebody that has a merchant statement, and they know what they're looking at, which is 1 out of 1,000, and they sit there, and I'm like, somebody taught you well. Somebody was a good rep before
Yeah.
me that came and talked to you. I'm like, that's pretty good.
The
But
other
no, that is awesome, and
the
I
other
bet it
thing
makes
is when I've shared projects with my kids,
your kids work for you.
my son interned with us this summer. He just started college, uh, so we'll see if he continues. I'm cautiously optimistic that at some point my daughter will think her direction. But that's something that I think too many parents pressure their children into getting into a family business. That is a recipe for disaster.
1,000,000%, because it pressures them. It puts all the pressure on them. They don't really get to develop into who they want to be, and it's really like, because if they want to be there, I promise they'll end up there. Wherever you will end up where you want to be in life, as long as if that's where you want to be, just some way. You might be 40, you might be 50, you might be 18, but if you want to be there, sometime in your life you'll make it to that point in time, as long as you work hard for it.
You got to find your own path.
You do, and actually, what's crazy is we have a sign in the office that says that right above the door when you walk out: find your own path or go where no one else has been. And that I love it, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So that's definitely what we kind of how we have to do, how we have to be. As humans, that's how we got to be, because somebody's done everything just about. And humans are crazy creatures. I was saying it earlier when I was on a call. It's like we're insane creatures, but there ain't much we haven't done, but there's so much that we have no idea about.
That's
And
the
that
way
is one of those
I think
things.
about life. It's always a new frontier.
Right. There's somebody pioneering something right now. Being on the forefront of something right now. And then what would you say? So the podcast is called Burn the Ship, but what would you say the emotions were on that burn the ship moment when you were like, all right, screw it. I've got a computer. I got a business plan. I got people that believe in me. I believe in myself a little bit now. What was the emotions that go in through it whenever you went and told your boss, screw off. I'm going out. I'm doing it.
Fear. Yes. Gobs of fear.
It's
It's
a good emotion to have.
yeah. Well, it's funny. My accountant always said fear is a great motivator, and and that's the whole idea of burn your ship.
Absolutely, it is 1,000,000%.
You're standing on that beach, watching the flames.
Mm-hmm. That's your
You're gonna,
sign. When you're gonna make it there, you're gonna die trying to.
you're gonna fight.
In which, and that's one thing. Hell, 25 years ago, you were young enough. If it failed, you go right back into doing what you were doing, and you'd have still been all right. And that was kind of one of those things. And that's why I guess that's why they say when you're young, try it. If you got the idea, try it.
Well, it never looked. In hindsight, it looks like that. Hey, I
Right.
was 45, but I had just gotten engaged and
Oh yeah.
just bought a house, and it came down to the point where I needed to make a decision. We were approaching Y2K, which the world was going to end as far as
Oh yeah.
everybody was.
Oh yeah.
And, it was kind of like the perfect storm because it was December of 99 when I decided and gave my notes. And, you know, stuff happened real
The world didn't end in January, and you got to
quick.
roll in February.
Yep. But
That's
then, I think that we hit a couple of years in, we hit a very difficult time. And I actually went a year and a half without a paycheck. And some of my advisors suggested I declare. Somebody once asked me, what do you owe your success to? I said I was too stupid not to declare bankruptcy. uh, and I had a whiteboard in my office, and I made two lists. One was a list of what we needed to do to keep going. The other was a list of what we needed to do to declare bankruptcy. And, one day I raised
look where we're at now.
I burned the ship.
Absolutely, brother. That's awesome. That is awesome. No, Art, tell the people where to find you. Tell them where to find you. Link socials, whatever you got.
Hance Construction, it's on this side, hanceconstruction.com. Reach out if anybody needs advice on anything business-wise. Not that I'm a good person for it, but if you have a question about building, we're on LinkedIn. My profile is up on LinkedIn. We have company profiles. By all means,
Man,
it's a shout.
that's awesome. Art's stuff will be linked down below. Art, thank you so much, man, for joining us, taking time out of your day to be on Burn the Ship with us. Burn the Ship.